body has a support system inside it that helps you from falling off when standing. This support system is called a skeleton, made up of bones. Bones are a structure where your skin hangs and provides protection of the human body. If we don't have bones, we would most likely look like a jellyfish. A jelly! An adult has 206 bones and a baby has 270 to 300 bones. And as they grow older, the bones has fused like this. There are 5 major bones: the skull, backbones, 12 pairs of ribs, hip bones, and bones in our arms and legs. Bones have 22% of water that provides 50% of proteins and minerals. There are 2 types of bones, the spongy and cortical bone. The spongy bones are most likely seen in our arms and legs, the biggest part of our bones. There are 2 types of bones, the spongy and the cortical bone. Here is an example of a spongy bone. Spongy bones are very heavy, found at the ends of your longer bones, the arms and legs, also in ribs, skulls, joint bones, and vertebrae. It has tiny holes like sponge, made up of 20% of your skeleton. In the spongy bone, it consists of the bone marrow, which is the fat deposit in our body. It has cells that are called stem cells develop into red blood or white cells. The red blood cells carry oxygen throughout your body, while the white blood cells fight infection and help you get better. There are also platelets in bone marrow that helps the blood in clotting or stop from bleeding. Next is the cortical bone, or the compact or lamellar bone that surrounds the spongy bone. It is made up of thicker and stickier material. It is composed of 80% of your body that gives strength to your lower bones. An example for this is a short bone and an irregular bone. The short bones are flat bones like the sternum, skull, and ribs, while the irregular bones are the spine, jaw, nasal concave, and the tailbone. Bones have water, proteins, and minerals. The living tissues of the bones are the bone cells, blood vessels, blood cells, cartilages, fatty tissues, and nerves. It is divided into two main zones, the axial and the appendicular bones. The axial starts from the skull to the tailbone. So the first step is from the axial. The brain is on the cranium. The cranium acts as a hull that surrounds the brain. It protects the brain from bumps and knocks. Here is the cranium. Next is the mandible, or the jawbone. Is able to expand, useful for talking. Lower part of the skull. It is the lower part of the skull and the largest and strongest bone of your face. This is the mandible. Ossicles are small bones that are found inside the ear, which is composed of malleus, incus, and stapes that help you hear sound waves and that is amplified by the 3 bones. And then move to the cochlea, which discerns the tones. From the malleus, incus, stapes is a small part inside the ear, then the cochlea. Next is the rib cage. Protects the organs in the thoracic cavity, assists in respiration, and provides support for the upper extremities. Helps protect the lungs and the heart. A rib cage is very delicate and can be damaged by accidents, sports, and powerful sneezes. Our ribs has 12 ribs on each side. But next is the rib cage. The rib cage protects the organs in the thoracic cavity, assists in respiration, and provides support for the upper extremities. It also helps to protect the lungs and the heart. We have 12 ribs on each side. Next is the sternum, or the breastbone, in which is here, that like kinda separates the rib cage, like that, this one. The sternum it serves as a protection of the heart, lungs, and blood vessels from physical damage. Next is a vertebral column, or the spine, made up of vertebrae that are stacked up very neatly in a vertical array. Forms the central axis of weight bearing and supports the head, as well as transfers the weight of the trunk and the abdomen to the legs. Next is the cervical vertebrae. Next is a vertebral column, which is composed of 32 vertebrae, made up of vertebrae that are stacked up neatly in a vertical array. Forms the central axis of weight bearing and supports the head, as well as it transfers the weight of the trunk and abdomen to the legs. The cervical vertebrae, this part, has 7 bones stacked together that made up our neck. Next is our spinal cord. Keeps your reflexes on deck. Our spinal cord, this one, which helps send signals to our brain. The ribs are supported by thoracic vertebrae, which have this one stacked into 12 beneath the cervical vertebrae, and the lumbar, which is composed of 5 at the end of the spinal cord pathway. Next is the sacrum, 5 stacked together, which are fused. The 5 sacral vertebrae are fused to form your sacrum, which holds your upper body and found in your bum. Below it is the coccyx, or the tailbone, which is composed of 4, but then it is also fused together. In humans, the coccyx has not really grown. Next is the appendicular part of our bone. Next up is the appendicular zone found in our this part of the body up to here. It protects the posterior, or the back of the chest, offering additional shielding to the rib cage and lungs. It is an important bone in the function of the shoulder joint. First one is the scapula. It is shaped like a triangle in our back, or what we call a shoulder blade. It is a triangular shaped bone protected by surrounding muscles. Next is the clavicle. Here, this part, our collarbone acts as a brace for the shoulder. You have 3 large bones in our arm, 1 above and 2 below. They come together to meet at the elbow. Bones of the forearm are the ulna, radius, carpals, metacarpals, and also phalanges. And a humerus found in our upper body. Humerus here. So you have 54 bones in one hand and one wrist, of carpals, metacarpals, and phalanges. So this is what it looks like. From here, like the wrist is called the carpals. This part is the metacarpals. Next is the phalanges, the proximal Next is the intermediate. However, we don't have intermediate in our thumb. And last is the distal. So all in all, it has 54 bones in one hand and a wrist. The proximal and intermediate distal phalanges make up your fingers, which you can move with ease.
So, good day everyone. My name is Jaylad, and this is the continuation of discussion of Miss Frecia Vin Cartoneras, which is my part is to introduce to you the lower parts of the skeletal system and what is the function of these parts. So, the first one is the hip. So, we all know naman, di ba, kung unsa ang hip. So, this diridapit sa ato ang paa. So, the function of hip is acts as a multi-axial ball and socket joint upon which of the upper body is balanced during stance and gait. So, the balance and stability provided by the hip joint allow motion while supporting forces encountered daily activities. So, ang hip po di ay is usap po siya naga-support tungod kay siya nagahatag og force or kusog sa ato ang body. Tungod kay sa adlaw-adlaw na to nga ginabuhat sa atong daily activities, ang hip po di ay is usap po siya naghatag og force sa ato ang body. So the second one is the thigh bone. So the function of thigh bone is holding the weight of your body when you are stand and move, stabilizing you as you move, connecting muscles, tendons, ligaments in your hips and knees to the rest of your body. So ang function pud aning thigh bone, it is kanang mao po ni siya ang nag-hold sa imuhang timbang or imuhang kabugaton para sa imuhang lawas para makatarong ka og balance. And then nag-connect po niya sa imong mga muscles, tendons, ligaments, o connected po siya sa imong hip. So, the third one, that is the kneecap. So, ang kneecap is diri sa ato ang tuhod. So, the function of kneecap, it sits in front of the knee joints and protect the joints from damage. So, ang function po daning kneecap is mo po ni siya ang nakatabang para mag-protect sa kanang mga joints sa ato ang sulod sa tuhod. Tungod kay kana siya mo po na siya ang naga-cover kung like for example like kanang na mga damages usap po na siya nga makatabang para dili pod dali matamaan ang imong mga ugat sa sulod. So the fourth one is the shin bone or the primary function of the tibia, also known as shin bone, is to accept the distribute weights across the knee and the ankle. The tibia's articulates with the relatively non-weight bearing fibula serves to maintain alignment of the tibia. So when we say shin bone, sa po ni siya nga ginatawag dati sa tibia. Kaya tungod siya ang naga-accept or naga-distribute sa weight across the knee and the ankle. So the fifth one is the calf bone or fibula. So the function of the calf bone, also known as a fibula, it is the smaller of the two bones in your lower leg. It gives your calf its structure from the top of your ankle. So, ang function po day aning fibula or calf bone is usa na lang siya ka smaller nga duha lang siya ka bones sa imuhang lower leg. And then naghatag na siya og kanang like for example sa mga structure nimo nga mga parts sa kuan, siya na ang top sa imuhang ankle. And then the sixth one is the ankle bones. So, the function of ankle bones is the connects the bones in your lower leg to the foot bones. It can be divided into the parts of upper bones, lower ankle, and the upper ankle allows us to move our feet upwards. downwards and a little to a side. So, the upper and the lower ankle is mo po ni siya ang like for example kanang ma-move ta sa upwards, downwards, and the little to the sides. Mo po na siya ang function sa ato ang ankle bones. So lastly is the foot bones. So the function of the foot bones, it is subdivided into the rear foot, mid foot, and forefoot. So it functions as a rigid structure for weight bearing, and it can also function as a flexible structure. So to conform the uneven terrain, the foot and ankle provide various important functions which include supporting body weight. So the foot bones, it is mo ni siya ang mga na siya subdivided into, divide siya into 3. So the first one is rear foot, mid foot, and forefoot. So naga-provide po ni siya og mga important function which naga-include po ni siya og supporting sa ato ang lawas. So that's all. Thank you.
So here are some works of the bones to make the body function properly. So first, the bones support your body and helping you move. Your bones literally hold your body and keep it from collapsing to the ground. Your posture depends on your bones. You also need to be able to coordinate your bones and shift your weight around them in order to move. Second, the bones produce your blood cells. Certain types of bone make your platelets, red blood cells, and white blood cells. So these cells are made inside of your bones. Platelets help your blood clot red blood cells deliver oxygen to your organs, and white blood cells help fight off infection. The bones store and release fat. So certain types of bones store fat and then release it when your body needs energy. Fourth, the bones that make blood cells. These are bones that contain red bone marrow. Examples of bones that have red bone marrow is your pelvis, sternum, humerus, and femur. Fifth, the bones that store fat. These are bones that contain yellow bone marrow. Yellow bone marrow stores fat in the form of adipose tissue. It can release energy when your body needs it in the form of triglycerides, a type of fat found in your blood. Thus, the bones that form joints. Some bones come together with other bones, ligaments, and cartilage in structure called joints. There are different types of joints that are defined by exactly how your bones come together in that region. These help your body move in different ways. So there are 3 types of bones. Bones that make blood cells, bones that store fat, and lastly, bones that form joints.
Bone diseases refer to conditions that alter the strength and flexibility of bones. Here are some diseases or disorders that affect our bones. First, the osteogenesis imperfecta. It is a disorder that causes the bones to fracture easily. The condition results from a change in formation for making a protein known as type 1 collagen that is necessary for strong bones. Second, osteonecrosis, also known as avascular necrosis or aseptic necrosis, occurs when there is a disruption to a bone's blood flow, leading to bone tissue death. It commonly affects the shoulders, hips, and knees. The condition occurs most often in people aged 20 to 50 years old. Osteoarthritis. It is common forms of arthritis. This condition affects the body's joint by degrading cartilage, the tissue that covers the surface of joints. It can also change the shape of bones and most frequently affects the hand, hips, and knees. Rickets. It is a childhood bone condition occurs due to imperfect mineralization. It results in soft, weak bones, typically due to a vitamin D deficiency. Vitamin D deficiency may result from inadequate nutrition, lack of sun exposure, and malabsorption. Osteomalacia, also known as bone softening, refers to a condition where the bones does not harden the way it should after forming. It occurs when there is incomplete mineralization of the bone. Mineralization refers to the process where minerals coat the inner layer of the bone, forming a hard outer shell. The incomplete formation of this shell leaves the collagen soft and vulnerable.
Oh, hi! I'm Nico, and at this point of time, I am going to explain proper ways of maintaining our bones healthy. Number 1. Regular exercise. Weight-bearing exercises like jogging, walking, dancing, and strength training help build and maintain bone density. Number 2. Limit alcohol consumption.
Sige pa ako yung mga tagsakuha.
Stop! Did you know that excessive consumption of alcohol can interfere the body's ability to absorb calcium? Did you know?
No!
That's why you have to stop drinking alcohol. Useless na kayo na mag-inom-inom mo og calcium na tapos mag-inom pod mo og alcohol. It can interfere the body's abilities to absorb calcium. Gusto makaamo nga mahimong healthy yung bones.
Yes!
So stop!
Stop!
Number 3. Quit smoking.
No.
Did you know that smoking is dangerous to your health? So quit smoking if you want your bones healthy. Smoking is detrimental to your bone health. It can decrease bone density and increase the risk of bone fracture. Number 4. Drink milk rich in calcium. Did you know that goat milk is the best alternative milk for other regular milks? It has the highest level of protein, phosphorus, and calcium compared to other milk. And did you know that goat milk provides its nutrients needed to have strong bones? And that is why our body needs a calcium to maintain our bone healthy. So drink milk rich in calcium.
Here are some medicines we found today that would help us and our bones healthy. And also, if you have, kung meron kang mga sakit, ito ay nakakatulong para ito ay maagapan. Parathyroid hormone. It is produced and naturally in the body. It regulates amount of calcium in our bones. Parathyroid hormone treatments such as teriparatide are used to stimulate cells that create new bones. You take them as an injection once a day. While other medicines can only slow down the rate of bone thinning, parathyroid hormone can increase bone density. However, it's only used in small number of people whose bone density is very low, and whenever other treatments are not working. Headaches, dizziness are common side effects when the treatment is used. Biological medicines are made from proteins or other substance produced by the body. It can be used to treat osteoporosis, include denosumab or ribosomab. These may be recommended if you cannot take other treatments such as biophosphonates or if you have severe osteoporosis. Then by work slowly down the rate which your bones are broken down by speeding up and the rate at which your cells build bones. They're given by injection also and every month or every few months. Common side effects include muscle joint pain, rashes, constipation, and cold-like symptoms. Selective estrogen receptor modulators are also called as SERMs. are medicines that have similar side effect on bone as the hormone estrogen that help to maintain bone density and reduce the risk of fracture, particularly of the spine. It is only type of serum available for treating osteoporosis, which is called raloxifene. It's only recommended for us, girls, women, after menopause. It's taken as a daily tablet. Also, it has side effects. First is hot flashes, second, leg cramps, and a potential increase for blood clots. HRT or hormone replacement therapy. It can be taken also as girls, women who are going through a menopause to help control symptoms. It's also been shown to keep bones strong, reduce the risk of getting osteoporosis. If you already have this, it can strengthen your bones and reduce the risk of breaking a bone. Some types of HRT slightly increases the risk of breast cancer. The risk increases if you take HRT for a long time. HRT tablets slightly increase also the blood clots. Calcium and vitamin D supplements. Calcium is the main mineral found in bone, and having enough calcium is a part of a healthy and balanced diet is important for maintaining a healthy bones. Most healthy adults, the recommended amount of calcium is 700 milligrams of calcium a day, which most people should be able to get from a varied diet that contains good sources of calcium. However, if you have osteoporosis, you may need more calcium, usually as supplements, as your doctors were advised about taking calcium supplements. Vitamin D also helps the body absorb calcium, and all adults should have 10 micrograms of vitamin D. Biophosphonates. It's slow the rate that bone is broken down in your body. It maintains bone density and reduces your risk of broken bone. There are a number of different biophosphonates including alendronic acid, abandronic acid, rhizodronate, zolendronic acid. They are given as a tablet, a liquid that you swallow, or an injection. Biophosphonates usually take 6 to 12 months to work, and you may need to take them 5 years or longer.